Hello, art friends. My name is Fleshwood, and welcome to Cursed Wednesdays. Today I have 6 4chan stories for you. They're all rather short, but very creepy. In the background, I will be drawing fan art of Art the Clown from the movie Terrifier. And I have not seen Terrifier 2, so please, no spoilers. I also have a special guest in this episode. Horror Over Coffee will be reading one short story in this video. I will have all of their links below, so please check them out, as they also make a number of very creepy, short, 2-sentence horror story videos. Make sure to watch this video in the dark, with the lights off and your headphones on, for the best viewing experience. Matches by Anonymous. Open your closet. Don't turn on the light. Make sure you have one match with you. Step inside and close the door. If the lights are on outside of the closet, this will not work, nor will it work if it is daylight. The only room you need is enough for slight mobility. Stand in the darkness for about 2 minutes. Since that's all that's needed. Now, take the match and hold it in front of you and say, "Show me the light or leave me in the darkness." If you begin hearing whispers, light the match immediately. If you don't hear anything, and the match doesn't ignite on its own, then don't turn around. If you light the match too late, or not at all after hearing the whispers, something will grab you from behind and pull you into what seems like a forever fall into darkness. If you do manage to light the match in time, and nothing happens after, open the door slowly and get out. Then close the door, but do not look inside. From then on, never look inside of your closet without the light on at all. Some say if you leave your closet open during the night, you can see the demon watching you with 2 red eyes that glow like matches. Unmarked VHS tape by Anonymous. During the summer of 1983, in a quiet town near Minneapolis, Minnesota, the charred body of a woman was found inside the kitchen stove of a small farmhouse. A video camera was also found in the kitchen, standing on a tripod and pointing at the oven. No tape was found inside the camera at the time. Although the scene was originally labeled as a homicide by police, an unmarked VHS tape was later discovered at the bottom of the farm's well, which had apparently dried up earlier that year. Despite its worn condition, and the fact that it contained no audio, police were still able to view the contents of the tape. It depicted a woman recording herself in front of a video camera, seemingly using the same camera the police found in the kitchen. After positioning the camera to include both her and her kitchen stove in the image, the tape then showed her turning on the oven, opening the door, crawling inside, and then closing the door behind her. 8 minutes into the video, the oven could be seen shaking violently, after which point, thick black smoke could be seen emanating from it. The camera then continued to stationarily point at the oven for another 45 minutes, until the batteries apparently died. To avoid disturbing the local community, police never released any information about the tape, or even the fact that it was found. Police were also not able to determine who put the tape in the well, or why the physical stature of the woman on the tape did not, in any way, resemble the stature of the woman found in the oven. Coffin Nightmare by Anonymous. My great-great-grandmother, who had been ill for some time now, finally passed away. My great-great-grandfather was devastated beyond belief. She was his one true love, and they had been married for over 50 years. They had been married so long it was as if they knew each other's thoughts. Even after the doctor announced her dead, my great-great-grandfather still insisted that she was not. He had to literally be pried away from his wife's body so they could prepare her for a burial. Back in those days, they had a simple backyard burial plots, without the body going through any preservation. The body was simply committed to the coffin and buried. Throughout this process, my great-great-grandfather protested so much that he had to be sedated and put to bed. His wife was buried, and that was that. That night, he woke to a horrific vision of his wife, hysterically trying to scratch her way out of the coffin. He phoned the doctor immediately and begged to have his wife's body taken out. The doctor refused. He continued to have this nightmare every night that week, and each day after, begged the doctor to remove his wife from the grave. Finally, the doctor gave in, and with the local authorities had the coffin removed from the ground and pried open. To everyone's horror and amazement, my great-great-grandmother's nails were bent back, and there were obvious scratches on the inside of the coffin. Lucid Dreaming by Anonymous. When I was younger, my friend sent me an interesting article on lucid dreaming. I read it and decided to attempt such a dream. My first attempts were futile. However, I still tried every night. On the night of my 19th birthday, I set the cup of water I usually brought on my night table and closed my door and windows, locking the windows with both latches. I lay down, turned off the light, and went to bed. The next time I opened my eyes, I was in a white room with a single door, identical to the one I had in my room, and a large window behind me, also identical to the one near my bed. The room was devoid of all other furniture. Immediately, I grasped the idea that I was dreaming. I looked at my hands and the rest of my body. I was clothed in a pair of my boxers and a white t-shirt, my normal nightly attire. The only discrepancy was that my clothes were soaking wet. Wake Up by Anonymous. I suddenly felt very cold and very alone. I walked briskly forward and tried the doorknob, with no luck. The door was locked shut. I turned to stare at the window and froze in terror. Two deathly cold blue eyes stared back at me from a grotesquely horrifying silhouette. I was frozen with terror as I watched the figure. After a few moments, its long, gnarled hand crept towards the window. Its long, bony claws scratching at the glass. It then began to press on the window. Cracks began to snake through the glass as it creaked and moaned under the pressure. Just as the window was on the verge of shattering, I heard my door burst open. Golden yellow rays of light flooded into the room and caressed my back. "Wake up quickly," a commanding voice bellowed from behind me. I awoke from my nightmare with horror, sweat beading on my forehead. My bedsheets were soaked in sweat, and my cup of water had toppled over me. Then my heart sunk. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw a long hand reaching towards me. I whirled to face the figure only to hear something scurry off into the night. My window was shattered. Glass peppered my floor, and long shards still clung to the window frame. I was frozen in horror and quickly collected myself. Bolting out of my room, there was no need to open my door. I locked myself in the bathroom and called the police. As I spoke to the officers later that night, I could have sworn I saw two bobbing blue orbs hanging just below the moon. against the cold black sky. I averted my eyes at a question, and they were gone.
Unlike a lot of kids, I really liked clowns, even scary ones. Because of this, when I was about 9, my mom and dad hired a clown for my birthday party. When the party came, so did the clown. His name was something like Polka Pete. My memory is foggy because I was only 9 at the time. I noticed immediately he was extremely tall. Again, I was just a kid, but according to my dad, he was a giant. My dad is 6'4" for reference and works in construction, and yet Polka Pete was a whole head taller than he was. Pete moved so weirdly that even my parents remember it. It was like his arms and legs had additional knees and elbows, and his face was so uncanny. Even to a kid like me, who loved clowns, he was uncanny. I didn't want to be around Pete, and my parents didn't want me to be around him either. My dad told him to his face to leave and offered to pay him a bonus up front if he just left. Pete froze up at this, breathing heavily into my dad's face. My dad said it took him all the willpower in his body not to throw up in that moment because Pete's breath was so rancid. Then, a few moments later, a car covered in polka dots pulled up to the house and an actual clown stepped out. Polka Pete suddenly stood up straight with this 1,000-yard stare in his eyes before sprinting off unnaturally. The actual clown was confused as to why there was someone else there, and then we all realized rather quickly that Polka Pete never showed up in a car. It seemed like he just materialized at the front door. Side note, according to my dad, around this time and for probably 2 years after, anytime something would be left in the backyard, after a few hours, it would flat out vanish. Not be misplaced, it would just be gone the next day. I have no idea if this has anything to do with Polka Pete, but it's still spooky to think about.
And that is all of the 4chan stories I have for you in this video. Once again, thank you to Horror Over Coffee for joining me on this collab. I hope you enjoyed these stories and the fan art of Art the Clown. Just a heads up, if you're seeing this fan art and you're like, I'm gonna go watch that movie, it is very gory and graphic. I honestly wouldn't watch it unless you're older than 18 because it is scarring, okay? Just a little heads up for you because I care about you. Let me know down below what was your favorite 4chan story out of this group. I have to say mine was between Coffin Nightmare and the last one, the clown. Super creepy. Just a reminder that I do have my shop back up and running. I do have a lot of creepy Halloween stickers. I have a bunch of original art, and I do also have woodcuts. So take a look at my shop, buy some cool art, share it with your friends. I really appreciate it. Please click the like button if you like this video and the art. Subscribe if you haven't, and be sure to leave a creepy comment down below as it helps out the channel a lot. And I always look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much for watching, art friends. Until the next video. Bye.